Follow the plan or follow the flow? Which path leads to true abundance? Naval Ravikant, the angel investor behind AngelList and an early backer of companies like Twitter and Uber, once said, "The currency of life isn't money, it's not even time, it's attention." He explained that while money is important because it lets you treat certain things for a time, it can never truly buy your time. Then he added, even time itself isn't valuable unless you are fully present for it. Time can be wasted if you're not really there for it, if you are not paying attention. That's the real point. Attention is what turns time into life. When your attention is fully here, you are not just counting hours. You are inhabiting the moment, living it. And that state of full attention, when your thoughts, emotions, and actions move as one, is what we call flow. If attention or flow is truly the currency of life, then here comes the billion-dollar question. Why do we spend most of our lives chasing plans and goals that constantly pull us away from attention, from presence, from flow? What matters more, to plan or to flow? Chapter 1, the collective myth of planning. We live in a world that loves plans. We make career plans, 5-year goals, and daily to-do lists, as if being sure could save us from the mess of life. Since we're little, adults ask us to have plans and goals. At school, we learn to plan our day, finish a to-do list, choose which college to go to, and pick a major. After we start working, we often make 1-year, 3-year, and even 10-year plans. We learn project management skills so every task is done on time and efficiently. Every January, there is the big moment of making a New Year's resolution. It makes us feel hopeful and in control of the year ahead. For entrepreneurs, this goes even further, making monthly, quarterly, and yearly OKRs. OKRs means objective and key results. OKR is part of the daily work of the entrepreneurs. In pitch decks, we need to predict profits for the next 3 to 5 years and set targets we must hit. If you walk into Walmart, you will see shelves full of planner books, daily, weekly, and yearly ones. So many choices, it makes you head spin. This shows how deeply we humans cling to planning. Part 2, plans and fear, the illusion of control and the question of direction. We keep making plans because we're afraid of the unknown future. Planning gives us a feeling that we are control what will happen, and the feeling makes us feel safe. But what we are really addicted to is not the planning itself. It's the illusion that everything is under our control. The truth is, can we really control anything in this world? When we live long enough and go through enough ups and downs, we all realize something. Surprises always happen. Then comes a harder question. What if the direction we worked so hard to plan and chase is actually the wrong one? If the direction is wrong, the harder we try, the further we move away from the right path, and the harder it becomes to turn back. And then another painful question. Who decides what the right direction is? Is it society, our parents, schools, bosses, our partner, or truly ourselves? This is not easy to tell. From the moment we're born, we have lived under rules, systems, and expectations. We got used to doing what others think is right, what parents and teachers praise. So many of our plans are not made from our real voice inside, but from the wish to be accepted, to be liked, and to feel that we are good enough in other people's eyes. Part 3, who am I? The real self beyond all labels. Here comes the next and maybe the hardest question. If we think we are the ones making our own plans and goals, then who exactly is this we? Are we the daughter, parent, employee, or boss written on our name tag? Or are we something else? The real self that exists when all labels are gone. Do you know who you are when every title, every role, every mask is taken away? If we keep making plans and decisions only through these social roles, reacting as a good child, good worker, or good leader, how can we be sure our plans truly come from our real self and not just from the need to meet others' expectations? So you see, before we can decide whether to follow flow or follow a plan, we first have to answer one deep question. Who am I? Because if you don't know who you truly are, you have no real freedom at all. Your life becomes a long chain of automatic reactions, trying to please others and fit into the world's script. There's nothing more important in life than knowing who you really are. Without this knowing, all your goals, plans, and hard work may be wasted. The harder you try, the further you might walk away from what your soul truly wants to do. And when the path of your real self grows far from the path you are actually walking, your life will feel full of pain, a kind of pain that no amount of money can heal. Part 4, the excuse of being busy, avoiding the truth of who I am. Most people don't want to spend time thinking about the question, who am I? They will tell you seriously, Peggy, I'm too busy. I have work to do, parents to take care of, children to raise, bills to pay, student loans to pay off, and a house loan every month. Maybe one day, when I finally have time, I will think about that question. But the truth is, there's nothing more important in life than understanding who you really are. If you don't know who you are, you can never have real freedom or choice. You're simply living in a story written by others, playing a role that was never truly yours. You can't even talk about following plans or flow because you are always being carried by a current that pushes you forward without any control. When you don't know who you are, every plan you make is just a survival strategy, not a free choice. You keep reacting to life instead of creating it, and that constant reaction brings endless stress and pain. Life becomes a long, hard struggle, like swimming upstream every single day. Many people believe that one day, when they earn enough money or reach a certain position, they will finally be free and happy. That day never comes. As long as you don't know who you truly are, you will keep chasing freedom, but never find it. What waits ahead is not peace or happiness, but more pressure and more pain. Part 5. The beginning of awakening, the cell of flow, and the resistance of the ego. One day, when your personal awareness starts to awaken, you begin to hear a quiet voice from deep inside you. You start to notice the moments when you are in flow and the things that naturally bring you that feeling. It feels exciting and magical, and you want to stay in it. But right away, your ego, your little me, jumps out to stop you. It thinks your flow goes against real life. It begins using your brain's power to calculate, analyze, and reason, giving you many smart reasons why you shouldn't follow your flow. These reasons are always about getting more things, more money, more love from others, more safety, or a higher social status. Your ego will shout at you. Be realistic. It reminds you of the life plan or business plan you already made, built carefully with logic and based on what society expects. Your ego says, if you follow this plan, you won't make mistakes. You'll be safe. And it warns you, if you follow your flow, you will step into the unknown. Who knows where that will lead? You might go off track, lose control, and that is dangerous. So even when your heart starts to wake up, your ego tries to keep you in the old world of logic, control, and safety because that's the only world it knows. Part 6. The big questions, plan or flow. Now you are stuck between two voices, the call from your heart and the warning from reality. You start to ask yourself, should I build a plan or follow it step by step, staying on a safe and controlled path? Or should I follow the direction of my flow, trust unknown, and adapt as I go? This is the first real test that almost every awakened person will face. A plan gives you a feeling of clarity, certainty, and safety you can measure. But flow is something you cannot predict, cannot control, and cannot guarantee. Your mind tells you, be careful, move slowly, stay safe. But your heart quietly whispers, go, that's your real path. Life becomes a tug of war. Logic says, don't do it. The soul says, I want to. Society says, be responsible. Your inner self says, be true. Many people stop right at this crossroads for their whole life. They want to follow their intuition, but they are afraid of losing control. They admire those who have the courage to follow their flow, yet when the night gets quiet, they feel crushed by fear, anxiety, regret, and all the shoulds in their head. They keep asking, what if I follow my flow and fail? What if I lose money, results, or respect? But almost no one asks the deeper question, what if I don't follow my flow and I miss the life that was truly meant for me? Part 7. The real question. Do we need certainty or the courage to face the unknown? Simply put, what do we really need? To make plans and goals that lead us on a path full of certainty, or to follow our flow and explore the desire inside us and the unknown world ahead? Certainty makes us feel safe, accepted, and defined. The unknown makes us feel naked, helpless, like standing in a dark space with no end. Certainty gives us order, logic, and a sense of control. The unknown asks us to lower our guard, let go of logic, and trust the power we cannot see. That's why most people choose to stay inside the safety of certainty. They would rather repeat the same days they don't even enjoy than take a single step toward the uncertain path, the one where no one can promise things will go well, because that step might mean losing others' approval, losing social labels, losing a stable identity, or even losing everything they once used to define who they were. What we truly fear is not the unknown itself, but the loss of our mask, the one that stop working when we step into the unknown. Once you cross that line, you can no longer pretend to be the person the world approves of. It can feel like being abandoned by the whole world. No applause, no clear direction, no solid logic to hold on to. It's just you, face to face with yourself. But it's in that deep feeling of being left out that life begins to prepare for real rebirth. Only when you stop relying on any outer sense of safety will you discover the true safety has never been outside. It has always lived quietly inside you, like the deep, still ocean beneath the waves. The unknown is not chaos. It simply removes your false sense of control and lets you see life as it truly is. In that moment, you finally understand. Real freedom is not about running away from risk, but about daring to trust life completely, even when there are no guarantees. Part 8. The doorway to awakening, the death of ego. We still have these doubts because we don't truly understand who we are. And to find that answer, we often need to go through something called the death of ego. When life hits us with deep failure of loss, when we fall into darkness we've never known before, all the things our ego used to rely on, our titles, roles, status, and achievements start to fall apart. Some people call this social death. It can be a very painful experience. Most people never go through it because they don't even have the courage to try something that may fail. They prefer to stay safe and live step by step according to the rules. That is totally understandable, but it also means losing the chance to grow. A life that is always smooth, safe, and careful often ends up wasted. Nothing new is learned, and the soul never grows. Those who dare to face big storms and walk into the unknown will sooner or later experience this darkest time of life, when your outer world completely collapses and your identity seems gone. It may feel like the end, but it's actually a gift from the universe. Because only when all your social labels are torn away will you stop searching outside and start growing inward. You begin to ask, without all these titles, who am I? And only after the social death of the ego do you reach a point where there's no way to escape, no more mask to hide behind. That's when you finally ask the question, who am I? With full honesty and curiosity. The journey of finding this answer is also full of challenges and uncertainty. If you turn back to your old labels and identities because it feels safer, then sadly, that lifetime will be wasted again. But if your older identity has already been completely destroyed, whether by outside forces or by your own choice, and you still have the courage to move forward and search for the truth, then congratulations. That's the real moment of awakening. Your soul is finally mature and ready to hear the true answer to, who am I? Part 9. The shell breaks. The experience of humanity, surrender, and oneness. Only through deep darkness and struggle can the hard shell around us finally break open. This shell is called the ego. It seems to protect us, but in truth, it traps us inside something called fear. Imagine each of us as a seed. The ego is the hard shell that keeps us from touching the soil. Only when that shell cracks can the seed finally reach the earth's nutrients and start to grow roots. It is through life's biggest failures and darkest times that we begin to see the truth. We are not the ones who control everything. We start to realize there is a greater power that runs the world. The ego once made us believe we were all powerful, that if we work hard, made perfect goals and plans, we could control life or even fight against it. We wanted to prove we were good enough, that we deserved love, that we were safe, that the future was in our hands. But when that dark time finally crushed the ego, we see the truth. We are not the masters of the world. We are the world itself. We and the universe are one. We don't need to fight the world, just as our heart doesn't need to fight our body or a drop of seawater doesn't need to fight the whole ocean. What we need is to move with the flow of life, to work with the higher energy that guides everything. This deep and painful moment of darkness teaches us humility. It shows us the most precious lesson, surrender. It helps us stop the endless noise of the mind and finally become quiet enough to hear the voice inside. That's when meditation naturally happens, and through practice, there comes a still moment when we can feel ourselves fully connected with nature. Peaceful, one, whole, our heart begins to merge with our body, and we finally feel that we are the world, and the world lives within us. And then the answer appears. Who are we? We are the world itself. Our bodies are how the universe expresses itself. Our thoughts are how it receives information. Our actions are the vibration of its energy. In that moment, we finally understand we are God. We are Jesus. We are Buddha. We are one. We are the universe. We are the source. We live together with the higher wisdom that runs this entire world. Part 10. Absolute Faith, the guardian of flow and the end of ego's goal. When you finally understand who you really are, you naturally develop absolute faith in following this true self. You no longer need to question whether to follow the goals made by your mind or the direction of your flow. The goals created by the mind comes from the ego. They are born out of logic and fear, and they trapped you like a cage. But flow comes from your true self, and your true self is the universe. The universe never makes mistakes. Everything is already perfectly right. When you have absolute faith, you relax your body and fully trust the water to hold you, and it really does. But if you only try to believe, telling yourself you trust the water while your body still doesn't, you stay stiff and afraid. You keep struggling, thinking only your efforts can keep you afloat. But the more you struggle, the faster you sink. That's not the real faith. Any goal or plan created by the ego is only a small clever trick, tiny and powerless compared to the wisdom of the universe. True faith, faith in the truth that your real self is the one, the universe, the source, Buddha, Christ, cannot be explained by logic or described by words. It can only be felt in deep meditation, while walking in nature, through yoga, or simply by following your flow in every moment of life. Whether you are following your flow or your ego's plan depends on the one thing. Do you have this steady, unshakable, beyond logic kind of faith? Are you willing to hand your little me completely over to the guidance of the universe? When one day you suddenly awaken and feel this absolute faith within you, that is the moment you truly understand surrender. Surrender doesn't mean giving up, doing nothing, obeying others, or losing your free will. In fact, when you live inside your ego's logic, always reacting to life's events, that's when you are truly slave to fate. Real surrender, born from absolute faith, is a deep trust that you belong to a greater field of wisdom, an endless source of creativity and life. This field cannot be accessed by AI or any tool. AI can only organize information that already came from it, but only your true self can connect directly to that higher intelligence because they are one and the same. When you experience this kind of surrender born from absolute faith, you will see that you no longer need to try hard to create. Creation flows naturally from within you, like a river that doesn't need to know where it's going. It just flows. You stop asking, what should I do? And instead feel clearly, what does life want to do through me right now? In this state, your actions carry no tension, no fear, no ambition. They simply happen. And what's amazing is that these actions are often more accurate, more efficient, and more powerful than anything you could plan. Because at that moment, you are no longer an individual trying to control outcomes. You have become a channel for the universe itself, a clear, open space through which energy, inspiration, love, and wisdom can freely move. In this state, what people call miracle become everyday life, not because the outside world suddenly becomes easier, but because you no longer fight against life. You are life itself. Part 11. The return of creation. Follow the flow, not the pressure. Only after you truly feel who you are, can you firmly and fearlessly follow your moments of flow. The moments of real creation. When you do things that bring you flow with deep and steady faith, you stop counting how much money you will make or what kind of results will prove your worth. You simply let the world carry you forward. You feel joy, ease, and openness in every moment. This energy is life itself, endless, abundant, and ever-flowing. It feels like being gently pushed forward by a great river, and without effort, you create things that even surprise yourself. But the goals and plans created by the mind do not bring life energy. They bring pressure. This pressure makes your body feel tight and heavy. When you live under this kind of pressure for a long time, your body begins to warn you through sickness, trying to tell you that you are walking the wrong path. Flow-based creation is a kind of co-creation with the universe. You are no longer forcing outcomes with logic and control. Instead, you let inspiration move naturally through you. When someone truly enters this state, time disappears. The noise of the outside world fades away. You even forget the idea of trying. It becomes pure being, an experience where you and life become one. At the same time, you realize that true efficiency doesn't come from strict plans, stress, or self-pushing. It comes from deep surrender surrender, from allowing yourself to become a channel for life itself. On the other hand, when we keep living in the high-pressure plans made by the mind, our bodies start to resist. Our inspiration slowly dries up, or even our passion becomes mechanical. Many people mistake this for the price of growth. But in truth, it's life reminding us you have moved away from your real direction. Part 12. Two currents. The pressure that pushes upstream and the life force that flows. Pressure is also a kind of powerful current that drags us forward. But unlike the current flow, this one moves against the stream. It makes us live every day in struggle, feeling like every step is hard. That's why we often say, life is so hard. The current of life force, however, moves with the stream. It carries you forward with no effort, and you easily reach the other side of your heart. When you follow this current, you often find yourself saying, life feels too good to be true. The difference between following with life, fighting against it, lies in one thing: direction. The current of pressure is driven by outside expectations, fear, comparison, and social rules. You are not choosing to move forward. You are being pushed. You keep trying to prove yourself, afraid of falling behind, afraid of being judged, afraid of not being enough. Over time, both your body and soul become exhausted by this resistance. The current of life force feels completely different. It's the feeling of being gently carried forward without needing to force anything. Things unfold smoothly, often in ways you don't expect. You begin to notice that the universe seems to line things up for you. What people call good luck is actually what happens when you stop trying to control life and start moving with it, when you allow life to return its natural rhythm. Part 13. Pressure as a compass. Pressure is actually a great compass. When you feel pressure and choose to listen to what your body is trying to say, instead of denying, ignoring, or blaming yourself, that's when your ego begins to be noticed, softened, and slowly dissolved. And when you start to feel moments of ease, joy, and energy in life, that's a sign that you are following your flow, walking with your true self. Pressure is never the enemy. It's a message, a signal, telling you whether your current direction matches your life energy. When you feel constant tightness, anxiety, or heaviness in your chest, it means your ego's fear is leading the way. But when you feel relaxed, inspired, and your breath moves smoothly, that's your flow guiding you forward. What we need to do is not fight pressure, but learn to understand its language. Every moment of anxiety or unease is your soul trying to talk to you. Notice it, feel it, understand it. Don't run away. Then pressure stops being a block and becomes your guide. As you learn to read your body signals, you can sense more clarity when you are swimming upstream and when you are flowing downstream. And a weakened person is not someone without pressure, but someone who knows how to turn pressure into transformation. Through awareness, breathing, and small actions, you can change that tight energy back into creative power. When you start hearing your heart's calling through the noise of pressure, your ego begins to loosen and the natural flow of life returns to you. If you're listening to this and wondering, where am I on the spectrum between pressure and flow? I create a short plan versus flow alignment test to help you see that more clearly. It's just a few questions and it shows you which pattern you are mostly living in right now, whether your life is currently led more by plans and pressure, somewhere in between, or already moving with more intuition, ease, and flow. It's not a judgment, just a simple mirror that helps you understand your current state with more honesty. You can find the link in the description below. Now let's continue. Part 14. The power of not rushing, letting things happen in their own time. When we still live inside the mind of the ego, full of plans and goals, life becomes wrapped in the invisible pressure. The ego always wants to set ambitious goals that go far beyond our real energy and natural rhythm. It keeps pushing you to be faster, better, and more perfect. The ego's root logic is scarcity. It always believes there is not enough time, not enough resources, not enough chances, not enough love. So it drives us to chase more, do more, and be better, just to avoid losing, being left behind, or being rejected. If you're stopping, because stopping might mean I'm not good enough, or I might be forgotten, slowly in this endless race, we lose our breath. At work, this ego-driven pattern becomes even clearer. Your boss gives you company goals that are never about your happiness or growth, but about increasing profits for the investors. The more aggressive the goal, the greater the pressure. And the greater the pressure, the more output the company expects, even at the cost of your life energy. When you unconsciously combine these external goals with your ego's inner goals, you begin to measure your self-worth by numbers and results. You run, push, and overwork yourself just to meet expectations. You stop cooking healthy meals and start ordering fast food. You cut down on exercise, sacrifice sleep, and lose time with your family. Your body begins to show signs of stress and fatigue. Yet the ego doesn't stop. It instantly sets a new extreme goal. I must lose 30 pounds in these months. Then you fall into a cycle of dieting, over-exercising, and rebound, living in pain, never satisfied with yourself. Meanwhile, because you've been absent too often, your child's schoolwork starts to fall behind, so you add more pressure. You must learn 100 new words this week. When your child can't do it, your frustration explodes. You yell, and in that moment, your child's brain shuts down from pressure. They remember even less, and so both of you get trapped in the same high-pressure loop built by the ego's anxiety. Gradually, work, family, and life wrap tighter around you until one day your body collapses. The truth is, the moment your mind makes a plan or goal, it also plants anxiety because the ego ties every goal to your worth. If I don't achieve it, I'm not good enough. Almost every ego-based goal is extreme because the ego is impatient. It doesn't care about the process. It only wants the result. So you keep telling yourself to hurry up, to work longer, sleep less, and push harder. But what's the point of rushing every deadline? When you look back, is there any must-finish on-time project that truly made you proud? Probably not. Because every creation, every project, every stage of growth has its own timeline. It doesn't move faster because you are anxious, and it doesn't slow down because you are relaxed. Real creation and growth can never be forced. Our clever plans and goals can be useful references, but they should never control the rhythm of life. When you are ruled by the ego's plans, you become a slave to them. You run endlessly, chasing results and ignoring your feelings and needs. One day, your body becomes tired, your soul goes numb, and your life energy slowly fades away. And when you fail to meet those goals, the ego releases fear, frustration, and helplessness until depression appears. Everything in life has its time. A child's learning follows the natural rhythm of their brain, not their parents' ego-driven schedule. What parents can do is accompany and respect that rhythm, letting the flower bloom and the tree grow in its own season. Your body's healing depends on your ability to let go of control and expectations. When you truly let go, the ego no longer needs to protect you through overeating or tension, and your body naturally returns to balance. Part 14. Plans, goals, and expectations, the three masks of control. Since childhood, we have been taught to make plans, set goals, and have a clear direction in life. Plans make us feel safe, goals give us a sense of control, and expectations seem to give us motivation. But if you look closely, you'll find that there is subtle yet powerful differences amongst these three. At the core, expectation is the ego's attachment to results, while a goal is a direction of action. A goal says, I wish to create something. An expectation says, I must get something. A goal carries an energy of openness and trust. It allows change and adjustment. Expectation carries an energy of tightness and fear. It resists change and is afraid of losing control. A goal focuses on what I'm creating right now. An expectation focuses on whether I can get what I want. The first keeps you in the seat of a creator. The second traps you in the place of lack and waiting. Goals keeps your attention on action and experience, while expectations keeps us stuck on outcome and judgment. Goals are fluid. They shift and grow with feedback. Expectations are rigid. They cling to one fixed result. When reality doesn't match what the ego expected, expectation quickly turns into self-blame and disappointment. A goal sees failure as feedback. Expectation sees failure as a threat. A goal keeps us inside the process of creation. Expectation locks us inside the judgment of the results. Plans are often just the extension of expectations. They make us believe if we can map everything out clearly enough, we can avoid uncertainty and the pain. So we spend huge amounts of time creating plans, career plans, life plans, financial plans, but these often turn life into a controlled schedule, giving us the illusion that life can be managed. The biggest problem with plans is that they turn the flow of life into a straight line of logic. True creation is never planned. it happened. It comes from inspiration, intuition, and presence. Of course, living without any plan is not the answer neither. A life without any structure can easily become scattered and lost. Human consciousness needs some kind of container to hold flow. Without it, flow slips away. So the real question is not, should I plan or not? The real question is, how can my plan become a container for flow, not a cage? Every work project also has its own needs, time, energy, and space. This follows natural laws, not your boss timeline or your ego's idea of success. What we need to do is not push harder or chase efficiency, but allow ourselves to enter flow, to let creation and growth unfold at their own natural pace. You will find that when something is ready to be done, it will be done, not a moment sooner, not a moment later. And if the company fires you because of that, it's okay, because any job built only on efficiency will eventually replace you anyway. With a machine or AI that can perform faster, that kind of system will always collapse on itself. What you can do is accept this calmly and see it as a new beginning, a chance to create your own path, to build something where your true self can shine, something no machine could ever replace. When you finally learn to trust your true selves and others and allow everything to unfold in its own rhythm, we gain the true power of not rushing. It's a quiet wisdom, knowing that everything has its time and all you need to do is allow it to happen. Part 15, the spiritual agile way, making plans serve your flow. In modern management, the waterfall model represents the traditional planning mindset: design first, then execute, then evaluate. The agile model focuses on short feedback cycles, quick adjustments, and continuous evolution. The process of spiritual growth and creation is closer to what we might call a spiritual agile way. It does not reject planning, but it also does not become trapped by it. Plans are like containers, and flow is the water inside. The container cannot be too rigid, but it also cannot be absent. The key is to let both coexist naturally. First, have goals but not expectations. A goal is an energetic intention, such as, I want to stay joyful and relaxed while creating. An expectation is the ego's demand for control, such as, I must make $100,000 in 3 months. When you focus on goals, your energy stays open and flexible. When you cling to expectations, your energy becomes tense and anxious. Second, adjust your plans according to your current state of flow. A true plan is not a fixed list of tasks. It is a living guide that evolves with your energy. Each morning, take a moment to notice your current state, whether you feel excited, calm, tired, or distracted, and plan your day around it. When your energy is high, focus on creative or deep work. When it is low, do something restorative, such as organizing, walking, exercising, or meditating. When your plan moves with your inner rhythm, creation feels easier, more efficient, and less draining. Rather than forcing yourself to complete what is on the list, treat your plan as a flow response system that changes with your needs. This kind of adjustment also includes letting go of tasks that no longer match your energy. If a goal has lost its vitality, it is better to release it. Forcing yourself to maintain a lifeless objective blocks your energy and makes creation heavy. Respect your natural flow and allow new directions that bring life and inspiration to emerge. That is how long-term creativity stays alive. You can ask yourself 3 questions each day. Where is my flow going today? What action will help my flow expand? What can I do that will make me feel more balanced and alive? When you organize your day based on these answers, your plan stops being a form of external control and become an expression of your eternal rhythm. Third, give space for flow. Do not fill your entire schedule. Plan only about 60 to 70% of your day and leave the rest open for inspiration, surprise, and rest. That empty space is where life can enter. Overloading your schedule blocks creativity. Leaving room allows it to move freely. Fourth, measure your day by how much time you spend in flow, not by how many tasks you completed. Before bed, ask yourself, was I in flow today? Do I feel more relaxed? Did I feel closer to my true self? If the answer is yes, then the day was successful. The core of the spiritual agile way is simple. Make plans serve your flow instead of forcing your flow to serve your plans. Be structured but flexible, active but aware. When plans become living container rather than rigid rules, life can move through them freely. True creation is not about following a fixed plan. It is about allowing the plan to rewrite itself as you create. A goal gives direction, and expectation creates illusion. When your plan becomes a container for flow, your actions become natural, orderly, and full of life. You are no longer controlled by pressure or lost in chaos. You move forward in alignment with yourself and with the rhythm of the universe. Part 16. The universe creates through you. You are the channel. When you let go of all ego-made goals and choose to follow your flow, it's no longer you creating. It's the universe creating through you. The universe wants to bring something into existence, and your body happens to be the channel for it. It's not that you are ready. It's that message, the energy, or the creation itself is ready to be born. If you are open and tuned to the right frequency, it flows through you. If not, it will flow through someone else who is open to the rhythm. Each of us is a receiver for the source of the creation. Our bodies are like radios. When tuned to the right station, we receive the signal of the infinite creativity. That energy then expresses itself through our hands, words, and actions. It might become a sculpture, a painting, a book, a podcast, an app, a building, or even a company. The same creative message takes on different forms depending on each person's unique body, skills, and gifts. This kind of creation, born from flow, not control, always turns out more powerful and alive than anything our ego could have planned. Part 17. The art of no self. Why true creation cannot be planned. Creation cannot be planned by the ego, no matter how clever your mind thinks it is. Imagine a painter who sits down and says, I must create a masterpiece that shocks the world and lives forever. Most likely, nothing will come out. The pressure kills the flow. That's because the goal of the ego, such as wanting to be richer, more famous, or more admired, only feed the ego, but block the true self. Real creation begins when we stop trying to control the outcome and fully trust the guidance of our true self, which is the same as the guidance of the universe. The true self is part of a larger harmony. It will naturally lead you toward actions that serve the whole world. When the painter stops chasing a great result and instead focuses on his real feelings, his body, the air, the light, and the rhythm of the moment, he relaxes, his frequency rises, his energy aligns. Then the intelligence of the universe starts to move through him. At that point, his work feels guided. The painting seems to paint itself. The pieces born from that pure flow become treasure, not because of their price, but because they carry the essence of the human soul touched by the universe. What we need to focus on is not the quality of the work. That's never under our ego's control, but on keeping our energy clear and our body open as a channel. When we are filled with conflict or self-judgment, the flow becomes blocked. When we are pure and simple, the flow moves freely, and the universe can express itself through us. The simpler we live, the easier it is to vibrate at the frequency of creation. Part 18. The formless state. Be formless, be infinite. When the ego still rules our mind, it pushes us to look for labels, roles, and identities. The ego feels safe when it can define things such as I'm a designer, I'm an investor, I'm a mother. It thinks that having a label means being in control. But the true self has no fixed form. It is curious about everything: food, travel, art, data, writing, design, or philosophy, and it flows freely among them. The ego wants us to stick to one safe label because that makes life seem predictable. But the more we define ourselves, the more we trap ourselves in a small box. Labels create comparison, and comparison creates separation. The illusion that we're better or worse than others. The illusion feeds the ego, but weakens the true self. The true self never needs to compare. It knows that everything outside is just a reflection of our inner state. The world is shaped by our mind, not the other way around. When you live by a fixed label or identity, pressure builds up. Your body gets tired, your emotions swing, and stress grows. You may keep forcing yourself for realistic reasons, but that only deepens the pain. The true self is formless. It has no limits and no labels. Following your flow is an act of faith, trusting that your true self knows where to go. You don't need to only do what you are good at. You do what your flow wants to do. That flow will naturally lead you to where your real light shines. Everything that carries your flow will make you shine effortlessly. That light cannot be created by any label or social status. The ego might worry, what if my flow doesn't match my talent? What if I can't be the best? But real talent is not a skill, it's an energy field. Every time you follow your flow, you awaken new possibilities that were sleeping inside you. The real you has infinite potential. Each time you move with your flow, your destiny rewrites itself, quietly, naturally, and beautifully. From that moment, creation is no longer something you do, it becomes something you are. part 19. When the ego questions, clarity appears. Then the ego interrupts. That all sounds nice, but the bills won't pay themselves. You still have a mortgage. And that's true. Life's practical side doesn't disappear. But when you start following your flow with full trust in your true self, something amazing happens. You begin to feel a deep, natural clarity. You start to see what you truly want. This clarity doesn't come from logic. It comes from insight. You begin to tell the difference between what is real responsibility and what is just a social illusion. When you are connected to your true self, even when you face bills or daily duties, fear no longer runs the show. You don't escape reality. You handle it with calm and balance. You still pay your bills, care for your family, and do your work, but the energy behind those actions has totally changed. It's no longer driven by anxiety. It comes from peace. You stop seeing life as a race to win and start seeing it as a dance with the universe. And that shift gives you a new kind of clarity. The understanding that what you truly seek is not safety, but authenticity. Part 20, the birth of choice, from puppet to master. As long as you live inside the ego's plans and goals, you are not truly free. You are just a puppet, moved by the strings of fate. But when you begin to follow your flow with full faith, trusting the universe's guidance, something changes. For the first time, you know your direction. For the first time, you can choose. For the first time, you become your own master. True freedom doesn't come from changing the outside world. It comes from changing your inner awareness. When you realize that most of your past plans were made to please others, to meet social expectations, or to escape fear, you suddenly see a deeper truth. You are living someone else's life. When you begin to listen inward, that someone else's voice fades. What's left is your own frequency, your true vibration. And in that silence, you realize, I can choose. You can choose not to please, not to prove, not to rush. You can choose to breathe at your own rhythm. Real freedom is not about dropping responsibility. It's about finding creative power within it. You still live in the same world, but your inner compass is completely different. You are no longer a puppet pulled by fear. You are the driver of your own life. That's the moment your life finally becomes yours. Part 21, the true self equals the universe. Infinite creation and natural abundance. The true self is by nature very creative because the true self is the universe. And the universe is always creating. Look around. Every flower, tree, insect, mountain, river, and every scientific discovery of humankind is a masterpiece of universal creation. When we truly see that our real self is not separate from the universe, we begin to build unshakable faith. Faith in the creative power of the universe and in ourselves as its living channel. The universe creates through our thoughts, bodies, and actions, shaping its ideas into physical world. And this endless creativity naturally brings endless abundance, not only in money, but in all aspects of life. Money is not the goal, it's simply a natural result of being in that creative flow. When you are awake in this state of creation, you no longer see creating as a way to make a living, but as a way of being alive. Whether it's writing, teaching, parenting, cooking, or running a business, as long as you are fully present, the universe will express its energy through you. You will then realize that abundance is not something to chase, but something that flows naturally around you. True scarcity is not the lack of resources, it's the illusion that you are separate from the universe. The more you believe in the separation, the more anxious and tight you feel. The more you feel unity, the more relaxed and abundant you become. You begin to understand abundance is not about grasping or earning. It's about allowing and aligning. When you follow your flow with deep trust, you open both your inner and outer path to infinite abundance. Flow connects you to endless inspiration, so you can keep creating whatever you wish to experience. The creations born from that flow carry high energy frequencies, attracting people, opportunities, and resources that match those frequencies. Because your source of creativity is infinite, so is your abundance. Part 22, the law of abundance. Let the world hear your frequency. At this point, the ego might ask, but what if the market doesn't buy what I create from flow? There are several reasons for that. First, you might not be sharing your work enough or at all. Remember, sharing is not only your right, but your responsibility. When you share your creation, you remind others who resonate with you that they are not alone. Second, maybe you haven't been sharing long enough. The world needs time to align with your frequency. All you need to do is keep your faith, keep creating, and keep sharing. Third, your frequency may still be unclear. Perhaps you are still torn between following your flow and pleasing the market. Any energy mixed with fear, doubt, hesitation, or self-judgment will show up in your work because creation is an honest mirror of your inner state. When you worry about whether people will like it, whether it will make money, or whether it is good enough, you step out of flow and back into control. That control is what makes your energy cloudy. The world cannot hear a signal that is not clear. Your job is not to force others to understand you, but to keep fine-tuning your own energy until it becomes crystal clear. When your frequency becomes pure and strong enough, the world will naturally hear it and respond. Fourth, maybe you haven't yet found the right form or language to translate your flow energy for others to understand. Flow often comes from a higher level of inspiration, but the world communicates through 3D human language, media, and emotions. This doesn't mean you should compromise or conform. It means you learn to translate. You turn universal messages into human language, emotion, rhythm, and expression so that others can feel them. You are not trying to please the world. You are simply making it possible for the world to hear your frequency. When you stay rooted in flow and keep refining your expression, your message will become clearer and more powerful. Remember this truth. There are 8 billion people on Earth, and at least 1,000 of them will resonate with your frequency. You only need those 1,000 true supporters to live an abundant, graceful, and free life in this world. Part 23. Ordinary works versus soul works. The difference between ego creation and true creation. No creation from the ego can compare to the creative power of the true self. Ego-driven goals and plans may produce clever results, but they are often shallow, full of effort but lacking spirit. At best, they earn a praise of not bad, but they never move the soul. Ego creations chase results. Soul creations seek truth. The ego's work depends on approval. It fears being ignored or failing, so it keeps imitating and comparing. But soul creation is completely different. It doesn't come from, I want to succeed. It comes from, I can't not to do this. It is a natural impulse, as essential as breathing. When you see someone deeply immersed in their creation, you can feel that vibration. That is not skill, it is energy. That energy crosses time, language, and culture. It touches the heart directly. That is the power of soul creation. It's not trying to prove anything. It's the universe speaking through a person. The true creator is not the one who tries to control the world, but the one who allows the world to move through them. The ego creates by force. The soul creates by flow. The ego's path feels tense and ambitious. The soul's path feels calm and secret. When you move from ego to soul, you stop chasing greatness because you realize you have become the expression of greatness itself. Part 24. The rhythm of energy, creating in tune with the universe. When you start to fully trust your true self and follow its guidance, you begin to see your direction clearly. Unlike the ego, the true self doesn't rush you, pressure you, or set deadlines based on fear of not enough. It doesn't remind you the time, money, or talent are lacking. Instead, it helps you find your natural rhythm, a pace that feels balanced and alive. We call this kind of rhythm self-discipline, but it's not the harsh, punishing kind. It's a rhythm that supports creation, not controls it. Through it, the universe can express itself through your body at the speed and frequency that feels right. Sometimes creation takes 20 minutes, sometimes it takes 2 years, and both are perfect. You stop measuring creativity by time, efficiency, or comparison. You stop chasing goals, meeting external standards, or proving your worth. You begin to live inside your flow, letting everything unfold naturally. As you strengthen your belief that you always have enough time, energy, and resources, your vibration stabilizes at a higher frequency. You live each day with peace and quiet joy. When you create from abundance instead of hurry and lack, you finally leave behind the efficiency-first robotic mode. You stop being a slave to systems and start walking your true path. And it's from this place that you create your best, most meaningful work. An abundant life unfolds effortlessly as you follow your flow. Part 25. Goals as tools, co-creating daily with universe. This kind of abundant life feels light, joyful, and deeply fulfilling. When creation itself becomes a source of discovery and delight, Goals and plans stop being pressure. They become tools for shaping energy into form. When you create from flow, you still make plans and set goals, but they no longer define your worth. They are not there to force you to prove anything. They become your creative partners, frameworks that help you stay consistent in joyful creation. If you don't meet a goal, it's okay. You simply adjust it to match your current energy. The true self is the master, not the plan. Only work that makes you feel alive, joyful, and self-directed every day can keep you going with true passion. Over time, through this relaxed and steady immersion, people may start to call you a master, an expert, an influencer, an entrepreneur, even a legend. But you know the truth. You are just doing what you love every day. One day, you will finally understand that the meaning of life was never about reaching a goal. It was always about feeling the joy of co-creation with the universe in every moment. That joy is not about achievement. It's about existence. When you stop defining yourself by outcomes and start living fully in the now, you realize abundance has been everywhere all along. You are never chasing abundance. You are breathing it.